It's not an easy thing to do. It's not easy to move on and let go of the things that deeply impacted us in our past and continue to impact us in our present and future unconsciously and unknowingly. But you can do it. We can all do it. You just have to know how and if you had actually moved on from that thing or not yet. Because the only reason you remain stuck with anything you try to do in your present is because you had not moved on from something that has to do with it in your past. You did not move on from something that deeply impacted you in your past and is related to whatever you're trying to shift in your current reality. And it will continue being stuck. You will continue being stuck so long you remain identified with that thing from your past. Because think about this. As long as you're identified with that experience that hurt you, with that person who hurt you, with that sad experience, with that childhood trauma, with that failed pursuit, with that failed experience, whether it's recent or from your far past, it does not matter. But as long as you remain identified with those experiences, as long as you still hate your life because they happened, as long as they are still in control of how you feel and what you think and how you react, it means that you cannot create anything that's better. You cannot create something that's better than what's inside of you. You cannot create better than your thoughts or emotions. And of course, simultaneously actions. And as long as you remain identified with those experiences from your past, from those hurtful, resentful experiences that you are resentful for too in your past, you will only keep recreating experiences that resonate with those, that reaffirms to you, that reinforces those concepts and those constructs in your mind. Like, can you imagine? It's similar to the concept that when you're really feeling that bad, when you're really feeling down about something in your life, and you're rejecting to even feel good. You don't want to go out and enjoy, some time with a close friend of yours. You don't want to meditate to feel better because you're thinking, why would I even feel better? It's not, meditating is not going to solve this. Going for a run is not going to solve this. Enjoying the beauty of nature is not going to solve my problem. I don't even want to feel better. I want to sit in my misery, try and figure out something, or not even try, just be resentful to it and hate my life for it. It's similar to this. Because as long as you're identified with that experience from your past, you're not going to be able to take actions that's better than those experiences. You won't feel like you want to take action in something related to that experience. If someone has hurt you, if a partner have hurt you, you wouldn't want to get into another relationship. You wouldn't even be seeking it emotionally, mentally, or in actions, physically. And that's how you remain stuck. But more so than anything is energetically. Energetically, you're still resonating with a failed experience in that aspect of your life. So anything else you try to do with that aspect in your life, in your present, for your future, it's gonna be another failed one. Whether it's about, financial gains, whether it's about winning something, whether it's about relationship stuff, whether it's about anything, it's gonna be the same. And how do you know if you moved on? Thing is to know, did I actually move on? If I did not move on, how do I move on? Because we oftentimes think that we had moved on from some experiences. We think that, I'm way over that thing, I'm way over that person, and I'm ready for my new life. Because you have to be ready. If you did not move on from that past experience, it means that you're not ready. You're affirming it, you're saying it out loud. It's as if you're saying it out loud, I'm not ready for another one of those experiences. Even if it has better results, even if I can win with it. And if you're not ready, it's not gonna happen. You're gonna remain stuck, trying to figure out a way, trying to hit against the brick wall, against the concrete wall, whatever. And to know that you've moved on is when it has no longer any control over your current reality. It's when you no longer feel the need to react negatively, have a negative attitude because you feel affected by that thing. It's when you think about it, recall it from your past, recall that experience, feel it, live through it once again, and see how do you feel about it. Are you really over it, or is it still something that you hate experiencing? Something that you're very sad about experiencing in life, something that you were resentful about experiencing. In other words, would you choose to experience it all over again if you had the choice? that's when you make peace with it. That's when you're no longer insecure about it. That's when you've acknowledged it and accepted it as an integral part of your life, and as an experience that added something to you, that taught you something, because each and every experience is teaching you something. It's teaching you to take back control. It's teaching you to empower yourself. It's teaching you to let go of your perfectionism, of your need to control each and every aspect of your life that you have no control over. It's teaching you to come back to yourself. It's teaching you to love yourself. It could be teaching you anything depending on that experience. Even if you met someone who's absolutely toxic, there's a lot to learn from them. Even if you had an experience that failed, there's a lot you could learn from your patterns during that experience, from why it had to fail, from what it's trying to teach you, from what it's trying to divert your focus towards, something else maybe. And so when you recall it, do you feel that you would choose to, if you had all of the power in the world, would you choose to re-experience that thing all over again? If you were the one making the choice, would you go like, yeah, I would surely go for it all over again, because I learned a lot from it, because it revealed that to me, because it enlightened me in one way or another? Or do you just cower in fear? Or do you just feel so much resentfulness and hatred and despite towards anyone included, towards anything that happened, towards whatever, towards yourself, your life, because it had to happen that way? That's to me, that's the best way to know if you really moved on. Do you still wish as if you could go back and change things? Do you still feel regretful about it? If you don't feel any of those, and you in fact feel that you would opt for it all over again if you could make the choice, then you had moved on. Now all that remains is to embrace your present, is to embrace your future, to not be afraid of your present and future. But if you had not moved on, if you did not yet move on, this is how to move on. Or if you're not sure, you're still semi-stuck, you feel as if you're making peace with it, but you're not fully over that thing, then that's how you move on. This is how you move on. First thing I like to mention in this is actually a practice by Joe Dispenza, and it's moving your energy from the trauma centers to the brain from which they came. That's breathing in, and as you breathe in, you imagine the energy moving from the bottom 3 chakras, the root, solar plexus, and sacral chakra, all the way to the mind from which they came, and then releasing that energy, replacing it with replacing it with a brighter energy, with lighter energy. As you breathe in, and as you breathe out, you imagine the energy, because wherever you put your focus, wherever you put your attention, that's where your energy is. If you focus on something, you're giving something energy, you're giving it value. If you're focusing on a thought, you're giving that thought energy, and that's why you attract whatever you are. If you focus on your heart, you're giving your heart energy, and you're going to be able to enhance that electromagnetism and attract with it whatever you truly desire from your heart. And accordingly, if you focus on that energy moving from the bottom 3 chakras, where most of the blockages happen as young children, because I'm not going to get into that. I have a few videos about this topic, but I'm not going to go into it now. But that's where the most blockages happen. And as you release those blockages to your mind from those bottom 3 energy centers, that has to do with your survival, that has to do with your fears, that has to do with your shame, with your guilt. Guilt blocks it, shame blocks it, fear blocks it. That's why those are the most 3 negative common emotions shared by most people, and that's why those are the most 3 common blocked centers in our bodies, energy centers. And as you release those negative blockages, you're gonna feel lighter and lighter, because they were created in your mind. You absorbed the thought, something happened, and you've analyzed it in your mind, and you've absorbed it in a specific way, you perceived it in a specific way, and that's when you buried it deep down and blocked it and created a blockage, trapped a blockages there, traumas, They're all stored down, deep down in in your energy centers. And as you release them, you breathe them back to your mind from which they were formulated, and then release them, you're gonna feel lighter. Try it, and you're gonna witness the differences in how you feel yourself about, and then try to revisit. Do it once and then revisit that experience, and then do it twice, thrice, 10 times, and then revisit that experience. See how different you feel about it. But more also is that to go for things that you don't feel comfortable going for. Because think about this, as long as you're still identified with something that hurt you in your past, if you're traumatized by a relationship experience, if you're traumatized by a failed pursuit, a failed business, anytime you think about, yeah, what if I get into another relationship, what if I get into another business, you're gonna feel your body pulling you back. So the more you start doing things that feel uncomfortable to your body, the more you're taking back your energy, you're reclaiming your energy and your power, and you're affirming to yourself that you had moved on. And it works in a reciprocal manner, like a reciprocal feedback manner. Like the more actions you take against those blockages, it affirms to your subconscious, and it affirms to yourself and to the universe that you are in fact no longer identified with those blockages, and they are resolved within themselves. And you could start the other way around. But if you cannot, I'm telling you, if you cannot start with your emotions, if you cannot just heal your emotions and perspective towards what happened by tending to your emotions, then you would have to tend to your body. If you cannot heal the mind through your mind, then heal the mind by your body. Exercise, do things that take you out of your mind and into your body. Because those things, taking actions, uncomfortable actions, puts you in the present, gives you a present idea, because now you start liking your present, because you start improving, enhancing your self-efficacy, and you feel that you're capable of doing stuff, and you're starting to connect with your present, and that detaches you from whatever happened in the past, and you start making peace with whatever happened in the past. So the more you overcome those, the more you do things that feel uncomfortable, the more that it's gonna feel into your system that you are no longer identified with that past experience, with that sad experience from your past, with that experience with that person who've hurt you in your past. And then you're gonna be able to move on. Then you're gonna go, even if it has nothing to do with that experience, even if it's just something that's uncomfortable. It's like meditating, it's like exercising, it's like running, it's like, going out when you don't feel like going out, socializing when you don't feel like socializing, sitting by yourself when you don't feel sitting by yourself, reading a book when you don't feel like reading, taking a cold shower when you feel like taking a warm shower. And of course, taking actions towards what you fear, even. Bit by bit, it's gonna resolve those blockages. And you're gonna reach to a point in which you don't fear those things. Because you don't wanna tend to if you don't wanna tend to the emotional aspect, once again, I'm repeating, because you could eliminate those fears even before taking an action. And you go into that thing without fears, or relatively way milder fears towards that thing. But if you can't do that, then go into that thing you fear. If you're fearing another business, if you fear another relationship, if you fear reclaiming your power and showing yourself to the world, presenting yourself to the world however you would like to be presented, then start doing this. It's the same as what I did, when I first started making those videos. I was very uncomfortable. They were very, it was not something that I used to do. Yeah, I could have all of those conversations in one-to-one conversations. I did not even like to speak about those things in group gatherings, because I did not like to say my words in places where they would not be valued, and I did not like, it felt meaningless, saying speaking about such profound topics in, with the 3 or 4 or 5 or more people, in a gathering. Because similarly, when I started this, I started until it became me, until I was very much able to identify with whatever I'm doing, with me saying this to the whole world, with me saying this to anyone, and I did not care about whomever it reaches to or not. Whomever sees it can seize it. Whomever doesn't want to see it, they're also free to do so. It reaches the people it's meant to reach, in other words. So, do the things. If you're afraid of it and you want to create a change with it, Don't just try, but you cannot shift your inner world. Don't just keep trying and attract it using your inner world, using your thoughts, using your emotions, but go for it, even with that fear. And that's gonna resolve those blockages. And then you would be ready to move on. Now you would be ready to stop being stuck and create a new experience, create a different experience. Thank you so much for tuning in to another video by AfsConsciousFrequency. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel, because it helps me so much and it helps this video find its way to many more others who might actually need it.